toward the line. Who will it be? It is going to be
Bobby. They hit again. It's Bobby Ron Hornaday goes across the start-finish line just inches in front of Bobby Lamont.
It's going to slide out of four. Sprague's going to slide out of four. And Kyle Busch is going to win this race.
Elliott comes off the fourth corner. He wins the first 500. But Alan Kulwicki is coming off of corner number 4, knowing that he's winning the championship. There's the checkered flag for Alan. He's the champion for last 2.
Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway, a track steeped in racing history. It opened in July of 1960, with Fireball Roberts winning the first race. It's a 2.5-mile quad-oval configuration with 24 degrees of banking in the turns. Josh Berry holds the lap record here set in 2024 on the new configuration at 19.361. For this series, the track's going to use the old legacy configuration. Track temp will be about 78 degrees and mostly sunny for this race. Some key takeaways to take into this race is it's going to be very easy to overdrive the corners. Trail braking is your friend. And don't get on the gas too early. Try to roll the corners and get the power to the ground without sliding. Alright, now that we've got the theatrics out of the way, let's get into it. This is probably one of my favorite 1.5 or 2.5 mile tracks out there. It definitely is going to be a very much follow the leader race, as this setup is just crazy tight for the track temp that we're going to be on. I also looked at this setup before I even got rolling. One thing to note with this setup, the brake bias is at like 58%. Throw that out the window. Just don't even run 58. I would drop it at least 4 whole percent before I even make it on the track. Otherwise, you're just going to be really tight, plowing towards the wall, and you're not going to have much fun. So that's going to be the start. You're going to want to roll that brake bias as the race goes on. Otherwise, you're probably going to be lacking behind and notice the car starting to get tight again. So as that starts to happen, you'll bring that brake bias down, but don't forget to bring it back up when you enter the pits. The last few times that I've raced here, this race has gone wire-to-wire green flag, so something to kind of be mindful of. The other thing is if you do wind up seeing a caution, it's going to be somebody probably listfully drifting through the corner. It's very hard to catch here. Once it starts to go sideways, there's not really a lot of coming back from it, unless they can get it slowed down and get it caught by the time they hit the apron. So that being said, keep your eyes peeled for smoke, things of that nature, because you obviously don't want to get taken out in that wreck yourself. Breaking off into how I ran our 20-lap stints for this week. I just tested 12-1 and 14-1. I really don't see 16-1 really working here too well, just because it's a little on the slow side, and if you really got to catch it, I think it's going to be pretty tough. So we did 12-1, 14-1. No offset this time. The wheel winds up in a really good spot. I really like it. I'm really happy with it. You may want to try with a offset to yourself. Even with a 14-1, it kind of points to the wall just a little bit. So if you're one of those people that likes it really straight when you're going on the backstretch, maybe go to a -2, -4, somewhere in there. On the 12-1, it does feel planted, but if you come into the corners too hot, you can feel it plow. And if you get on it too hard, you can get it to drift right out of the corner. The setup itself is really heavy on front tire wear. So this may not be a good setup if you're one of those guys that really cooks the right front. I would suggest running some laps with it to see if you can't get it where you want it. Best lap with this was about a 32.6. I know that there's probably some more in it that I'm just not getting out of it. But overall, it works. You can make it work. right front tire wear was at 86, right rear was at 90, and that right front temp was 279. So knowing that, I like to try to balance it if I can, to try to save that right front. Like I said, you can probably sway that with some brake bias a little bit, but I still think you're going to burn up that right front more than anything. For those people that generally tend to do that, like I kind of do, I think the other setup that I have here is probably going to be your best bet moving forward, just because it seems to make the car want to run more off the right rear, and we'll get to that in just a second. With the 12-to-1 though, I think if you like a really heavy car on the front, this is probably for you. It works pretty well. I could probably make it work over a run, but for me, I like to be a little bit more comfortable when I'm a little bit more even on the tire wear, things of that nature. Make sure you back up your corners for sure with this, because as someone has told me, if you're running a tight race car and you want to get out fast out of the corner, slow it down on your way in a lot more than you would normally. The other thing is when you try to do that, make sure you're not going to get run over, because that's something that does tend to happen here quite a bit, because everybody's braking point is different. I like to use the black NASCAR banner on the right side of the wall. I tend to try to check up a little bit before that. On the backstretch, I use where the safer barrier kicks in to get things slowed down. So something to try with either of these settings. The next that we used was the 14-to-1. It's just as planted as the 12-to-1. To me, it seems a little bit more controllable, and I think that's because you're not over torquing on the chassis, and it's not allowing that rear end to kind of come around in a sense. It is harder to oversteer with the car, but it is harder on the right rear tire. The right front wear after 20 laps on this was 91. The tire wear on the right rear was down to 89. So like I said, this kind of balances it back the other way. To me, it wears evenly now, and that's a good thing. We also brought that right front tire temp down. We were at 279 on that 12-to-1. We're at 269 on the 14-to-1. So, you know, if it's going to be a long-haul race, that 14-to-1's looking really nice, because it keeps the temp out. It keeps our tire wear a little more balanced. And you're not going to feel as tired after a run. It's just not going to feel as heavy in the wheel. So I encourage anybody to try both of these out, as I think either one could go really well for you. So that being said, guys, that is my walkthrough / track guide for this week. If you have any comments, questions, put them in the comments. Hit me up on Discord. You know the drill. And we'll catch you all at the races.